Go Dota! Been a day of delays, but finally we reached the conclusion, the crescendo of our best of three, second best of three of the day, I should say. Mousesports taking on Virtus Pro, looking to add an exclamation point to the end of this broadcast day. Virtus Pro came out swinging far. It's one of those. It's going to be one of those days. I tried to say hard and fast at the same time, and just about said fard. They came out swinging fard. And that's as far as my brain went with it. It's like they swung hard. They came out swinging hard and fast early on and put together a fantastic Game 1 win. Really just rolled over Mouse. Mouse taking advantage, not in a bad way. They played a great game at Dota in Game 2. Virtus Pro, following the internet outages of two of their members, had to play with two stand-ins on a 10-20 minute notice fly. And got run over, to be perfectly blunt about it. Mousesports, again, looking very, very good. Anti-Mage, played by Black, more than doubled up the net worth of the closest competitor on the enemy team. It was just one of those games. And now, finally, after a brief delay, it looks like we have everyone back for Virtus Pro, NS, Illidan, KSI, Tame, My Wild, Sergio, all five, looking to punch their ticket into Phase 2 of this round, of this part of the G-1 Champions League, the Western Qualifier. Going to flash away briefly just from the draft. We'll come back to it in just a moment, just to give everyone an idea of what's on the line. Now, there is a lower bracket to this, not displayed, so don't worry. Losses aren't immediate elimination, but the winner today will advance to take on the former No Tide Hunter squad, now known as Alliance. So, back on into the draft. Let's talk about what we're seeing. It's coming out quick, and both teams, I believe, a little antsy, a little ready to move past this series. Been a long day for them, long day for EG, and for Absolute Legends as well, for myself, for BTS, for G1. But, all in all, I think it's been a decent day. And at least some of you enjoyed my story time, right? But anyway, taking a look at the picks out of Mousesports, very well-rounded. You've got Magnus, no question the value of that hero, especially in conjunction with the gyrocopter, the ability for Magnus to... we talk about it all the time. When I say we, I mean me and my co-casters, predominantly myself and Draskell. I've been harping on this for a while. And it's a concept that applies to a lot of heroes. Gyrocopter is what I call a peak and valley hero. The fact that he peaks very early in terms of what he can contribute, right around level 6. If he maxes out his Rocket Barrage plus Call Down, that's so much magic damage. He does really well in team fights. He also does really well in skirmish fights because of how much damage he can output. But then he valleys out pretty badly, right around 25 minutes, give or take. And that's when you have to farm him back into hard carry status. Now, that valley portion of his arc throughout a game is really mitigated quite effectively by Magnus because of the bonus damage that Empower gives him. All of a sudden, he's able to feel dangerous with just one big item instead of having to have two or more. And that alone is often enough to make the Magnus and Gyro combination worthwhile. You put it with a Shadow Demon who can run offensively or defensively. Hell, could be a support Gyrocopter, just don't know. Either way, Mal's wide open on the side of VP. Prophet Lifestealer, love this strategy. I've been seeing it make a comeback in a big way, and now the Storm Spirit pickup from VP. In fact, this is one of my favorite kind of lineups to run. You're going to have a global presence, a lot of reach, and the ability for a Lifestealer to contribute to fights very early on. I would imagine with the Bane pickup especially, this is not a Virtus Pro lineup that's going to want to just sit and farm, especially as we wait to see what Mousesports throws at us. Anti-Mage banned out by VP. The Respect ban going the way of Mouse. Don't want to allow Black back onto that hero again. Don't know that Black will be farming that Gyrocopter. Could be a Clink's pickup now. When I look at the way this is already looking, they could offensively tri-lane Gyro, Shadow Demon, and Jakiro, run the mag mid, and then solo farm the Clinks in the safe lane. That's something that Black is extremely adept at, a fantastic Clinks player, one of the better ones, and for the longest time was known as a Clinks player. But it's all going to depend on how confident they are against it. Virtus Pro, their lane's a little bit more helter-skelter. The Silencer pickup, excellent against the team so reliant on spells, especially around that level 6 period. Magnus with RP, Gyrocopter with Call Down, Shadow Demon, of course, with his whole skill set, and Jakiro. And yes, it's true to an extent that you can shut down most lineups with a global silence. I mean, that's just how strong that ability is. But this lineup in particular can get into a lot of trouble if they are even one iota out of position whenever that silence goes off. They have no inherent escape mechanisms. They're not particularly tanky outside of the Magnus, at least not until later. TA, though, going to be the pickup for Mousesports. And it's interesting. It's interesting if nothing else. What I want to know is where that Mag's going to end up. Looking like he wants to be a long lane. Could be solo farming the safe lane, though, as there is still offensive tri-lane potential absolutely for this Mousesports lineup. For VP, their ability to fight level 6 is going to be crazy. With the Infest out of Lifestealer, he can jump himself into the Storm Spirit, go for the Nake's Bomb. Bane's there to go ahead and use Fiend's Grip on whatever hero he wants to lock down. Usually going to be, I would guess, a Magnus or a Templar Assassin that allow the rest of his team to just blow up the Gyrocopter very efficiently, very quickly. And we'll have to wait and see how they lane it out. Looking at their lineup, I honestly don't know. They could do a whole lot here, depending on how they want to prioritize it. It looks like Tame My Wild's going to be on our Storm Spirit. Tells me that's where they're going to want him mid. And yeah, they're just going to go ahead and sack the off lane, run KSI down here with the try of the Silencer, the Bane, and the Lifestealer. Like to get Illidan off to a very good start. On the side of Mouse, yeah, going to be an off or a defensive try lane. They're going to play it safe with Poss in the off lane, so no surprises. Let's run through our lineups while we have a chance. NS, who was our disconnected guy, has made it back in. He will be handling our Silencer, Illidan. Going to be playing our Lifestealer, Nature's Prophet, going to be played by KSI, and Storm Spirit handled by Tame My Wild, as mentioned, with Bane, played by Sergio. On the other side of the river, Black, going to be farming up our Gyrocopter here in mid, going to be Korkva, playing on our TA. Puss, going to be handling our Magnus off in the long lane. Alex will be playing our Jakiro. And the stand-in for Mouse, who I have opted to name Chernaris, just because when I see that longest string of Cyrillic letters, I just think of DayZ. I just do. Sorry, that's how it works. I really hope the DayZ standalone is good. I really, really do. I'm not going to lie. I'm beginning to have my doubts. And since it's a pause, I can jaw off about things not related to Dota, and I'm allowed. But I'm really beginning to wonder if it's going to work out. I love the original. Love the... and was so excited for the standalone, still am. But, to be honest, Rocket and company are dragging ass on it. And he's off climbing. He's summiting Everest right now, while a game that he promised would be out by Christmas remains completely and utterly unfinished. Not even close to being in a releasable format. And we're halfway through April. Whenever you see things like that, you have to begin to worry. I don't care who you are. Rocket has seemed to spend a lot of time traveling lately, and you know what? That's his prerogative. And not to say it's a guarantee that the game's going to be ruined because of it. But this is how those legendary games like Daikatana, Duke Nukem Forever, so on. This is how games like that get into those unending development cycles where you just end up with a crap product. Is you don't focus yourself enough and give yourself a deadline. Without a deadline, you usually wind up. And there's an old saying in journalism and in print journalism that I think applies. When you leave everything in, you end up with nothing. And that, of course, speaks to the word economy that writers are encouraged to use in every setting, but particularly in print journalism and news journalism. That if you leave everything in, pretty soon it's just a muddled mess of words that nobody wants to read. And I worry that the pace that DayZ standalone is being developed, they're in real danger of that happening. Because they seem to be taking the attitude that it's done when it's done. Which is fine so far as it goes. I mean, that's a Valve-like attitude. But Valve also has a proven track record of turning out the best video games on the planet. So anyway, enough about that. Best of luck to Rocket and to the DayZ team. Really hope my worries are unfounded. And how about we talk about a game that actually is relevant to this stream? Talk about a little bit of Dota. We ran through our lineups. Now we're going to see how the lanes shake out. And yeah, this is becoming more and more common. It's not the most exciting Dota to watch, really, but you understand why. You wind up basically with the map cut in half. One here and one here. You've got two junglers, You've got 2 tri-lanes that are unopposed by so much as a solo lane, and then you've got just your 2 mids going back and forth and probably not even playing with all that much aggression. They'll probably just try to stay stable as long as they can. Mag's are already stacking and pulling. He's got his first point into Empower, so just going to be using that along with Shockwave at level 2 to jungle himself up a few levels as best he can, leaving the rest of the supports to suck up the experience from the pool camp and so on. Already stacked up by Alex and pulled out. So not a whole lot that we're going to have to talk about here. I mean, we can talk about Storm versus TA. This is what makes TA so darn annoying in any solo lane situation is she tends to sneak up on you. When you first start out, Refraction's mana cost, especially after the slight nerf it took, I mean, she can't spam it quite like she could. Bottle certainly helps with that. But, you know, she's decent. 1 point into Side Blades means a little free harass. She can have a little bit of range. But if you're ranged like a Storm Spirit, it doesn't feel that intimidating. But as she gets more levels and more points go into Refraction, maybe she puts a point into Meld just so she can melt your face once in a while. About level 6 or 7, it just begins to feel impossible to stay in lane against her. And that's not good if you're a Storm. Storm is an excellent hero who can play what is tantamount to a carry role. I mean, he's not an anti-mage faceless void type of carry, but he can and will do a massive amount of damage. And we're going to hold that thought for the moment as Virtus Pro now under cover of smoke, moving their way towards mid. And Tame picked a terrible time to move down to the river. This should be our first blood. Yeah, no doubt about it. And Qualifier actually is going to be able to get away. That's genuinely surprising. That was just misplayed entirely. I thought I heard KSI TPing in. He didn't have a point to Sprout anyway. He put 2 into Nature's Call. But yeah, that's what I was talking about. With Tame My Wild moving down into the river. Pushing Qualifier back. Should have played up and made Qualifier feel good about coming out. Now we're going to have a Nightmare, though, on Chernaris. And there goes the Ice Path. They're going to try and turn this around. Chernaris making a run for it. Heating up. Last word's going to kill him, if nothing else does. First blood goes the way of Inez. So Virtus Pro, our first team on the board. And looking solid. Not wanting to hang back and wait too long. Now, Tame My Wild's very low here. He's playing some ballsy Dota so far. And we can see NS already moving his way out. I'm actually surprised that Tame's having this much trouble early on. Still got 8 last hits to the 15 of Qualifier. And that is really just unacceptable. He should not be having that much trouble. Good thing for VP, though. 28 last hits on Illidan. #1 on the board. 23 for Gyro. Not bad for Mouse, but Black's still a little bit off of the pace. But now Qualifier going to be caught out. He's going to be Vortex back. There's the slow and the Nightmare. Sentry Ward going to go down. And last word gets the silence off. There's an illusion rune up there. Here comes Alex. Throws out the Ice Path, catches 3, and buys enough time for TA to make it to safety. Very good reaction out of Mouse to save their mid there. Now, what I was going to say about the Storm Spirit is he is not a carry in the traditional sense. He needs a couple of very important items, namely an Orchid and a BKB. He gets up an Orchid and a BKB in a decent clip. That's how you end up with these monster Storm Spirits that just take a game over. Especially when he's on the same team as a Lifestealer. The ability to ball lightning in, engage on any target you want with the Lifestealer immediately infesting out. You Orchid the target for the bonus damage. And yeah, that's a guaranteed kill every time you engage, basically. It's guaranteed that one hero will die on the other team before you do. And now, here we go. Disruption onto the Storm. Ice Path follows it up. And that should be that, and it will. So Mouse counterpunches, gets themselves a nice kill. NS has made his way back down to bottom. Looks like they're going to get our first tower off the board. It is already pretty low. And there you go. Gyrocopter trades almost exactly the same time. And KSI actually just stutter-stepped that. He's going to die because of it. Not sure what happened there. That was a total mistake. He was running and just stopped running. He just sat there. More pressure possibly looking to be poured on the mid. 1-2. Mouse now leads. 44 last hits for our Lifestealer. 35 for the Gyro. 21 For TA, Storm continues to be a little bit off the pace, sitting at just 14. But Illidan playing some pretty balls out Dota right now, right up under the tier 2. And really, this is the luxury that you're afforded by playing a Lifestealer. You've got Infest to get you out of trouble. You've got Rage to get you out of trouble. He's already got 2,000 gold in the bank, by the way. And want to see what he decides to pick up here. Sergio finds himself an Invis room. Bad news when you have an Invis Bane. And Tama Wild forced back off by Chernaris and Alex. Glancing around the map, I mean, we've had some movement. But so far, still very, very quiet for the most part. And one would think Armlet would make a ton of sense, given the way that I think they're going to want to play this. NS going to be spotted out, eats the side trap. No inherent escape mechanism on the silencer, so barely able to outrun the ice path there. Gyro right now, though, is being left to his own devices, and this is troublesome. You never want to have a Gyro just free farming like this. His item choice is going to matter a lot. He's just about in position to go ahead and pick himself up a set of drums, go ahead and tank himself up, good stat gain. And it helps manage his mana at this stage of the game, too. That's something that's often underrated about drums on Gyro in particular, is just how much a set of drums helps him stay in fights that last a while. Mana management, a big problem for an early level Gyro. He's only got a pool of 520. And with how spammable his skills are and are meant to be, you can burn through that really quick. I mean, you're talking 90 just for one instance of Rocket Barrage. And that's a spell that you want to use 3-4 times at most, or at least, in any kind of decent team fight. Very stable way to build a Gyro. There's also the Yasha BKB route. You also go Shadow Blade, so... NS actually almost will die. And Black adds another kill to the total, making it 3-1 here in mid. Tama Wild going back and forth with Korkva. Just look how much damage Mel's already doing. That's just 1 point. Just 1 point in a Mel, as it is. Armlet will be the choice for Illidan, and what I meant by the way he's likely to want to play this, you don't pick a Storm Spirit to farm super late. You pick a Storm Spirit who, as soon as he hits 6 and has 1 or 2 items to make him comfortable, he wants to be active. He has Ball Lightning. The mana cost of Ball Lightning is usually prohibitively high at this stage of the game, so you look to mitigate it with things like Arc Boots or perhaps even a Bloodstone, so on and so forth. But you do want that Orchid. Orchid helps with all of it. Helps with your ability to engage one-on-one, your ability to engage and set up a team fight, and you're just out-and-out stat gain in terms of just intelligence gain. Take a look at KSI. He just decided to go ahead and grab himself a minus. We'll see if Mech is going to be the next choice. Mech would make a ton of sense here, I do believe, especially given how much the other 2 heroes on his team have been roaming. And TA wisely playing this one back a little bit, not knowing what's going on the other side of the river. The Gyrocopter did go ahead and opt to get drums. I like that out of Black. Helps him out a ton. Very, very stable approach. 4 kills on the board, 9.5 minutes into the game. Very slow early game so far. We've seen movement out of both sides, a few kills here and there, but for the most part, everyone content to just farm their way up to a core set of items. Now perhaps Bane, nope, thought better of it. Looked like he wanted to involve himself with with the Magnus. But as is. Up, call down gonna be used, and Illidan down to about half health. There's a Jakiro coming as well. He's got Infest. Now he's just gonna engage on the Black and look to heal via Feast. And doing good damage while he's at it. So Illidan rightly not feeling too scared at all. And Storm Spirit, I heard him bounce somewhere. There you are. Going to be able to pull back to safety, at least for now. Looks like it may actually be a set of treads. It's the next on KSI's Christmas list. Really think a mech would be excellent for them if he could get it up at a decent clip. Haven't really felt the influence of this Bane much. Usually when you get a Bane, you pick a Bane, for the first 15 minutes of a game, you want to be hearing his name all the time. You want to be hearing about Nightmares. You want to be hearing about Brain Sap at level 6. You definitely want to be hearing about Fiend's Grip. And so far, he's been really quiet. Now, that's not to say he's going to stay quiet.
Radiant's middle tower is under
but
attack.
It is something they're going to have to change if they want to make this lineup work for them.
Is under attack.
I mean, they have a lineup that wants to fight at level 6. Silencer's now level 6, so he's got Global Ult. Fiend's Grip on Bane, he's level 6. That's when he wants to fight. KSI is well past level 6 and has been. Tame's really hurting, though. He's level 7. Has brown boots, and that's about it. Brown boots and a wand. Illidan, though, very keen on combat, at least for right now. Has no problem YOLOing his way right up to the tier 1. Showing his face, doing some farming. Hey, why not? And on the other side, Korkva is actually going to have his Blink Dagger, like right now, basically. And that's problematic if you're Virtus Pro. You have some heroes that do blow up and will blow up if they're engaged upon in a big way. And Tame, getting himself behind the tower, going to prompt the reaction, hastering on the amount of range of the Ice Path. But that Omen missile, coming from downtown, jumps out of it. Here's Korkva. Now engaging onto Illidan, but easily dodged out. He's going to re-engage. There's a disruption to buy time. Global Silence goes off, but it's too late. Here comes Storm. The re-engage will be able to clean up Alex. Now the cooldown comes down, though. That's going to catch Tame, but he's forced out. Or jumps out, I should say. Silencer there, ready to find RP. Gonna be there. He got everyone! Cleaned up. Absolutely everyone. Beautiful play by Paz. And on the back of that RP, Mouse makes it a full team wipe. That's the moment they've been waiting on. VP, a team that wants to fight. Mal showing they have no problem fighting as well. 13 minutes in, 11 kills on the board. 5 of them gained in the last 30 seconds by Mouse. They're going to look to take a tier 2. TPs are going to be there to save it and keep it standing at least a little while. Here comes Tame. Will be disrupted out immediately. And he's just going to pursue this out. His mana pool's very low. And still able to use Vortex to grab at least one and get some payback. Meantime, here in mid, Jakiro and TA doing what they can to the tier 1 mid. The rest of the squad is up at the top lane, while the rest of Mouse happens to pull back. 13.5 minutes in, take our first look at the gold graphic and see just about 500 gold the advantage for Mouse, just about 2,000 experience their advantage as well, so this game is going their way. But we've yet to really see the synergy that Virtus Pro has drafted into their lineup. They could just infest Illidan into Storm Spirit, get the initiation advantage, then follow it up with the silence, with the Fiend's Grip, maybe with a little bit of split push and or right click coming out of their Nature's Prophet. He is going to be getting the mech up after the Midas. That's a wise choice, one that I really, really like. Because, again, this is not a team who wants to sit back and farm all game. This is a team that wants to start fighting right about now. And they have to. They can't let Black just keep up. Black, I mean, has gone for the single most cookie-cutter standard build in the world of drums, Aqualade, BKB. And there's a reason it's cookie-cutter and standard. It's because it's damn effective. Gives the gyro longevity, makes him hard to pick off and kill at this stage of the game. And by the time he's getting his damage items out, he should still have some long-duration BKBs, 10, 9, 8, 7 seconds sometimes. And should be able to get full use out of them. Everything seems to be off of cooldown. And yeah, we're going to see the Lifestealer go ahead and infest in the Tame My Wild. And going to go right on Korkva. The silence is there to follow it up. Don't know that they needed that, really. That might have been a waste.
Can kill you.
Because this is one of those situations where you get a kill and it's grand. But what does that kill give you? Besides a little bit gold. Maybe a little bit of momentum. They didn't gain map control there. They're not going to take a tower off of it. It's not a pick and push. It just got a kill. And a good kill at that, but it cost them their silence. And that silence is a clutch ability. Going to be about 2 minutes till it's back up. And now, Mouse has to know that they can do whatever they want. Fiendscript now going to be catching Alex out. Macro Pyre did go down. Virtus Pro going to get another tower because of that. A little bit of help from Mouse was rotating that way, but going to be too little too late. Tame My Wild still here in mid. Looking to farm himself back into the game as best as he can. Taking a look at the gold graph, we can see it's 1,500. 1,000 in terms of experience going the way of Mouse, however. So still a very, very even matchup so far. Storm Spirit's still well short of where he wants to be in terms of items, but he does have Tread's bottle. Could be much worse, and there's a disruption immediately out. Chernaris looks to be in trouble, but with help from TA, Shockwave's there, and they do clean him up with the damage from the Demonic Purge. So Black and company able to get a very high value return kill. Now the ability for these heroes to melt down towers is actually quite huge, especially in terms of just pushing creep waves. With Psyblaze, Flat Cannon, Shockwave, they have a lot of ways to do damage to anything in their way and in a group. And of course, Dual Breath out of our friendly little Jakiro. Gotta love him. And Virtus Pro. Now up under their tier 1, suspecting the Mouse is looking to pressure it. Will be the Orchid pickup for Tame My Wild, as he has added the quarterstaff. No surprise there. It looks like Illidan's actually going to go with a Deso build. Haven't seen that in forever. It's fairly cookie cutter. You go Armlet, Deso, then you just blow people up. You swing 3 times and they're dead because the minus armor means they're super squishy. But it is chancy. Here we go. They're going to engage right out and silence everyone. Nice damage done in the AoE. But the follow-up really isn't there. KSI going to be isolated out. Eats a lot of damage here. Now the RP's going to catch everyone again! Are you kidding me, boss? That's a rampage for Black! An 18-minute rampage on the back of Poss, landing another gigantic reverse polarity. What a man-child you are, sir. You go back to the base, you drink up, eat, drink, and be merry. Get this man a choice piece from the harem. 2 fantastic plays, and at this point, much of Mouse's success owed almost entirely to what he's been able to accomplish. I mean, the engagements from VP haven't been bad, but when you group up and just let an RP go off not once but twice and lead to a rampage for a gyrocopter, that's bad news. A gyro which, by the way, has been farming his butt off this entire game. We're not even 20 minutes in. He's already into 5 figures in terms of net worth. And he's 9-0-3. That's not really a state of things you can allow to happen. He's got 2,800 gold in the bank, a BKB, drums, and a ring. Let's see what he wants to pick up here. I'm actually genuinely interested, other than TB scroll. I would imagine he's going to be looking to just go pure damage now. I mean, he's got his BKB. He doesn't need to tank up anymore. Mouse also feeling quite happy to take themselves a Roshan. And Virtus Pro seems to know nothing about it. That or they simply don't care. Roshan should be dropping real soon, and he will. So they'll pull out. And now Black, with that Aegis, they may just go ahead and look to push tier 3, literally. They may just push through the tier 2 and run right down middle lane. And yeah, that looks like that's what they're going to do. We have 1 backing out. That's actually going to be Black. That's a little surprising, really. I'm just going to go farm top. I mean, you can understand there's a lot of farm there. But really, they could have just rushed down tier 2 in mid, and I don't know that there's a whole lot the VP could have done about it. As is, 20 minutes in, the gold jumped up, back down. About 2,000, the advantage of Mouse. Same with the experience. Now, right now, VP's got to be feeling under the pressure. They have not been able to execute at all. And unless they make something happen very, very, very soon, their lineup is likely to begin to show some fray. And now another RP, gonna catch 2 more. Silence goes off. Doesn't matter, though. They're able to clean 1 up, and now we're gonna see Poss cleaned up. In the meantime, battle rages in the river as well. Poss on a killing spree. And Bane actually buys back there. And here we go, Black ready to fight, doing what damage he can. Fiend's Grip gonna hold him down, but there's the skewer. Poss has played such a good game of Dota. Poss is playing out of his mind. Absolutely out of your mind, Poss. Another kill, and yeah, I believe this one may have officially turned. Didn't catch 4 that time, but Poss getting 2, cleaning them up, while the rest of his team went to work on the rest of their team. 8-18. Mal's going to take at least 1 tier 2 here. Everybody is back up, or about to be back up. 23 seconds on the Lifestealer. They take another tier 2. There are only 2 remaining. On their side, anyway. 3 still standing on the side of Mal's. Like I say, KSI will be getting himself a 4 staff, going with the very standard support approach to the Nature's Prophet. And yeah, Black having added the Demon Edge to his inventory. Ready to just go to work, and Jakiro actually gets a kill on Prophet just by himself. Well, no, never mind. It tends to help when you have 2 teammates there. Just a little bit. 9-18. And this game left close behind quite a while ago. Still, with a team like Virtus Pro, they have a chance to fight their way back into it. They just got to get on that horse real fast. I mean, real fast. Taking a look at the Shadow Demon. He's working on a 4 staff of his own. Shakiro with the Ghost Scepter up. Sergio working on a BKB. There's Storm going to go ahead and engage, catching Poss out. They might be able to get a high-quality kill. The RP spent, though, locks down Illidan, and Poss made it away from that. Oh, no, he didn't. Almost made it away. Down goes the Macro Pyre. Black with his BKB up. It's going to be Fiend's Gripped out. Alex is there as well. There's the Silence. Virtus Pro fighting for their lives, basically. They will get the Aegis off of the Gyro. Now the counter engagement, Tame My Wild, going to be able to jump away. Just barely makes it to the low ground. Korkva laying into Sergio. Chasing him down. Should have no problem. Well, never mind. We'll have a Nightmare slow him down. KSI going to be cleaned up here now, though. And, yep, immediately see the TP away. This should be another tier 2, though. 21-9. Mouse is absolutely rolling. This is a team that got rolled over in game 1. They fought back, got game 2. But that was with Virtus Pro having stand-ins, and now Virtus Pro's fully manned, and they're just losing. Really no other way to say it. Mal's not about to chance things, not so early. Happy to go ahead, fall back, and you know the old saying, what do you do when you're ahead? You get more ahead. And that seems to be the exact plan and course of action here for Mal's and Poss. BKB up on Korkva as well. So he's fairly built. BKB looking to be the choice of the moment for Sergio. Magnus, so far, just his Blink Dagger in his bottle. But Black has completed an MKB. So he's already hitting for 300 damage. We're 25 minutes into this game. His net worth is once again, for the 2nd game in a row, in very real danger of doubling the next closest person on the map. I mean, TA is much closer than the Lifestealer is even. So Illidan has to get his act together. Moves on to the Ancient stack. He's got 1 Mithril Hammer. One can only imagine that's on his way to Adesso. Only 1 outer tier tower remaining right now for Mouse. So they're going to have to defend this coming up pretty soon. Black manages to get the last hit, so no more outer tier towers. And yeah, I mean, this Virtus Pro just feels very thin right now. Black doesn't care. He's so tanky and so big. that he could just look how much damage he's doing to the tower. And he is going to be engaged upon. There's a whole team behind him. Tame forced to jump back out. Disruption is there. And out he comes. Curse tossed out by the silencer.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And I really have a hard time imagining what VP can do here. Global silence is up, but they're going to have to come out and do it like right now. Call down is there. There we go. There's a Fiend's Grip. And the infest out. Black should be cleaned up and will be. So they got that going at the very least. Very well timed that time. Now they're going after Magnus. Disruption buys some time. And he's going to spin the RP. Gets him in the macro pyre. Tame My Wild will be burned down. Sergio going to be not quite brought down, but Jakiro there to help clean things up again. 2 for 1 the trade. Make it 2 for 2 as Mag does drop. Illidan making a run back for the well. They won't be able to get him. NS is there along with KSI. And NS, oh good, Sprout coming out from the Prophet. Illidan now going to go toe-to-toe. Uses open wounds, but going to be blown up, making it look easy. 3 for 3.
Radiant's top barracks are
And looks like the top barracks really going to be the choice. No surprise at all. Another Sprout comes out, and Korkva might be forced out with that, and he will. Able to make it through the tier 3 and to the racks, but unable to bring the racks down. KSI still standing along with NS, able to keep things together at least a little while longer. Naked racks at top lane.
under attack.
Following that battle, see the gold heavily in Mouse's favor. 10,000 going their way. Just about 15,000 in terms of experience going their way. And Virtus Pro, realizing just how desperate things are, looks to move out under cover of smoke. Roche likely to be the next target. Only about 3 minutes, 2 minutes left until Roche is back up, so no reason for Mouse to become impatient. The way Virtus Pro engaged that fight, the last one, was about as good as it could have possibly been. Throw out the silence, make sure that if the Lifestealer's inside, that he's manageable. He doesn't come out, rage, and just all of a sudden go crazy with open wounds. But that you can cope with. And Virtus Pro able to do that. Had a real chance to win that last fight. Back to the TA. Been a major player so far. TA with the Demon Edge now, as well as her Blink Dagger and her Blink Dagger and her Demon Edge, I should say. Ready to do some damage, as is Tame My Wild. Tame takes the Lifestealer inside of him. Sounds like I'm reading a very bad erotic novel. Gonna be looking for a target, most likely. Roche is gonna be up in about 1 minute. And players are gonna try to challenge for it. I would imagine Mouse will. They really don't have any reason to feel particularly scared of VP. They almost got a 1 crack in the base at 20-some minutes. And things have only really gotten better from there. Golden experience had basically leveled off. And here they come. Beginning to circle around the Roche pit. Virtus Pro in position in the Radiant jungle. Just a question of how heavily they're going to try to defend it. And there's the smoke. This could be a big deal for them. They need at least 1 clutch kill. Killing off the TA would be huge. Getting the Shadow Demon, not quite as huge, but certainly a value. And the rest of VP pulling back, I should say. And here we go. Team Wild going to initiate. They're going to be able to catch Alex out, but the Ghost Scepter keeps him alive. And now the counter initiation. Magnus sitting on the low ground down in the Roche pit. They're going to get 1 free kill. Poss is just waiting to skewer out. But VP doesn't take the bait. And Roshan now looking to be melted down. Buyback basically makes this all in. That's gold that Illidan could ill afford to spend.
Roshan has fallen to the
Deso's up on him, so his ability to do damage not in question. Just a matter of can he do damage fast enough. There's so many ways he can be kited out and dealt with now by Mouse. Demonic Purge, big part of that to slow down on call down. RP, of course. All they have to do is basically deal with him. KSI is going to push out, try to do some split pushing, but don't think it's going to matter. Very important. The BKBs weren't used in that fight, nor was the RP. And there's a Fiend's Grip right on Black. Silence goes out. They're going to try to engage off of that. BKB's all activated at once. Ghost Scepter keeps the Jakiro alive. And here comes Magnus. Still has not used RP. Oh, he actually did use RP. So, 2 down with the Bane brought down as well. He does buy back, but the GG comes out. 31 minutes, 20 seconds. The time it took. And VP, who made it look easy in Game 1. Not gonna lie, it was a complete house job at Game number 1. They're gonna come up short here in this series, and Mouse digging deep after falling behind 1 game, make it 2 in a row, and get themselves back into good shape. Not gonna lie, guys, it's been a long broadcast day. I was beginning to nod off some in that broadcast. Not because the game didn't have its exciting moments. But, yeah, I am a pretty tired guy right now. I am pretty darn tired. The weights didn't help, but reversing my schedule to live on Singapore time, always tough on 1 day when you're going on 2 hours. So hopefully I still managed to deliver a decent enough broadcast. Finally, we finish things out. And Mouse gonna advance to the next round. Their opponent gonna be the team formerly known as No Tie Hunter, now known as Alliance. For those who weren't here from the morning broadcast, you didn't miss much but a whole lot of downtime. Well, you missed me telling stories. There was that too. But Team Liquid still awaiting the winners of Evil Geniuses and Absolute Legends. Still have not heard the actual ruling that we're going to be using in that circumstance. What happened was that Absolute Legends won Game 1, then there was 85 billion problems in Game 2. We tried to remake about a dozen times, literally. I spent about an hour and a half talking and telling stories and answering user questions. And in the end, we just couldn't get it going. We literally ran overtime to the point that this series was starting, and we hadn't even started Game 2 of the other. Or we had started it, but we're trying to resume from loads and all that. So I don't know what the deal is there. I'm sure that'll get played or decided at some point. But again, Mousesports advancing to take on Alliance in Phase 2. Tomorrow we got Kai P taking on Team Empire. Winner of that will advance to take on Fnatic. And Cupad taking on Dignitas. Winner of that will look to take on Na'Vi. Now there is a lower bracket as well. It isn't displayed in this particular graphic, but I'll tell you where it is displayed. You can find it on G1.2p.com, your coverage hub for everything G1 related. The Asia qualifiers are behind us, but the Western qualifiers just today getting underway. Got a lot of action ahead of us, and I mean lots of action, weeks of action still in front of us now. You can find articles, write-ups, all kinds of great information about the G1 League, find the brackets and so on and so forth, even the videos for the group draws, demonstrating just how legit everything is. And again, all of that can be found at G1.2p.com.